What are we doing today, Simon?
Do you have a zinger for me?
Why would I have a zinger?
Some podcasts do zingers, right?
Oh, yeah, but what would I think? I didn't have time to think of one because I didn't know we were doing that. Hello, this is Untitled Podcast with Art, and I'm Chris.
I'm Simon. This is our third episode. We recorded new stuff. Shout out to our one Patreon subscriber. It's my mom.
Yeah, that's nice of her. But
Hi,
she
Mom.
also got in on the free tier.
So we won't thank her until she actually puts some money toward this.
Then she's gonna get all the shout outs and bonus content.
But don't let that deter you from subscribing. My mom gets plenty of thank yous.
She's getting the exact same treatment as the rest of you.
On this day, you are all my mom.
This every day is make every day Mother's Day.
If everyone you know is your mom, every day is Mother's Day.
There we go.
That
Put that
logic
on a
is
Hallmark
unassailable.
card. Yeah, that is gonna sell well.
Does Hallmark make a lot of money still, like through cards?
Probably.
Yeah.
I get several from my family every year.
People still buying shit cards, huh?
I mean, yeah. I buy cards, but I don't buy Hallmark cards that often unless that's like the only choice.
Yeah, cross Hallmark off the sponsors list.
Oh, well.
Potential sponsors list.
Maybe. I don't know.
We got to take a stand somewhere.
I have never stood up for anything in my life, but today I'm standing up and speaking out against the Hallmark Corporation.
And I would say Halliburton approached us.
Yeah.
They're still a company, right? I haven't heard about them
No,
since. No, they're not. They rebrand?
Well, yeah, it was like a merger rebrand kind of thing. I think they got bought by I was wrong.
Chris, what happened to Halliburton?
Halliburton does still exist. I was thinking of Blackwater. Blackwater was the one that was sold to a bunch of different private equity groups. And so, yes, Halliburton, still a sponsorship opportunity.
What is Halliburton even? Are they like Blackwater as contractors? It's the entire past Trump administration erased everything I remember about the Bush administration.
They are one of the world's largest providers of products and services for the ever-evolving needs of the energy industry. So fracking.
Killing people in the Middle East?
I don't know.
Was that a part of it? That was a part of it, right?
That was Blackwater. But
Halliburton too, right?
Yeah, I feel like Halliburton had some...
Halliburton hired Blackwater?
I feel like they hired the contractors or something, the mercenaries that were... Yeah, I think that was a part of it. Oh, yeah, there was some whistleblower retaliation and... Yeah, they're just not good.
And then Boeing killed the whistleblower.
Well, that was a different whistleblower altogether. But yeah, isn't that crazy that happened and we all just kind of memory hold it because then Trump got shot and then Biden dropped out of the race. So now here we are.
Yeah, only one guy can get shot at a time.
I really can't keep track.
Did he shoot himself? No, the whistleblower.
No, he
didn't shoot himself, but allegedly. He was dead in his car.
They
like a
tried
House of
to
Cards
make
thing.
it look like a suicide, yeah, or
he was.
I don't even think they tried that hard. I think that they were just suicide.
He was in the room and left, and was just well, gonna kill myself now.
He testified. As I understand it, he testified, and then he left to go get lunch or something. Bought lunch, came back, was in his car in the parking lot, and killed himself. It seems weird. Huh? I usually don't feel that bad after lunch.
Yeah.
We've all had
Is there a Yelp review for the place he got lunch?
Yeah, maybe we need to dig a little deeper. Maybe they
The last thing he did was leave a Yelp review with all of Boeing's secrets and 1 star because this place was so fucking bad I'm killing myself. This is not appropriate.
Oh. Yeah, well. Oh, well.
Oh, well. But we're not talking about that kind of... Alana had something here. People who will never get mugshots taken of them are Halliburton and Blackwater. People who do... Take it away, Chris.
People who do get mugshots are Justin Timberlake. So on today's episode, we are talking about Justin Timberlake being arrested and booked on DWI charges in Sag Harbor, which is in New York. That is the Hamptons, on June 18th. So this was last month. And this story caught my eye for a particular reason. And that is because following his arraignment and release of jail on the morning of the 18th of June, his mugshot was released that same day by the Sag Harbor Police Department. And unsurprisingly, this mugshot, it inspires a lot of memes, but I mean, have you seen the mugshot, Simon?
I have seen the mugshot.
Want to do a cold read of the mugshot for me?
It is Justin Timberlake looking at you head on. He, honestly, for a mugshot, he looks pretty great.
Yeah, there are theories out there that there's a ring light involved.
I was going to say, his eyes look like they have a ring light. This might just be the Hamptons. They probably arrest quite a few.
It is the Hamptons,
They probably arrest quite a few people with money or who are famous or both. And I imagine they make it a nicer experience. It's like a spa drunk tank.
It's like a European jail.
Right, where there's a lunch menu.
Yeah, where you get like a room that looks like a New York City apartment. Yeah, so I think that it's so symmetrical. Like, I mean, this is a man who knows how to hold his head very straight.
But also, he was chosen to become a pop star because of how symmetrical he is.
Not all pop stars have a
facial symmetry test.
Yeah, but like, this is exceptionally symmetrical.
Yeah. Anyway, he's looking straight on at you. His eyes look a little bleary.
A little glassy, a little red.
You see a few more of his wrinkles than normal, but like his skincare routine is probably pretty good. So if this is him at his worst, good for you, man.
I mean, also, we got to acknowledge the Botox is really good. He's going to a good practitioner.
This might be the only expression he can make for all we know. I've not really followed him recently. I know he's on tour. But.
Yes. Well, unsurprisingly, this mugshot inspired a whole lot of memes and reaction from the world at large. I threw a couple in here. So you want to talk about the one on the left there?
Yeah, it is a tweet from a user named Christy Yamaguchi Main at the Wapple House.
I did not notice.
I'm going to be honest.
Your app before.
I'm on Blue Sky, not Twitter, and this is Blue Sky has not reached this level of silliness yet.
No.
The caption is, "What the dino nuggets in my microwave see at 3 a.m." And it's the mugshot with like that orange dot matrix that they put on microwave doors, which I don't even know what it's for. Is it so
it doesn't cook your brain?
Yeah, so your babies don't come out weird after you use the microwave to make a pot pie?
Exactly. They don't want you getting cancer in your like sternum from waiting impatiently for your Stouffer's mac and cheese to be done.
They don't want your face getting less symmetrical. Yeah. It recontextualizes the expression Timberlake is making here because
yes, it really
he's
does.
longingly at microwave level looking at us, the dino nuggets.
Yeah, it turns this image of a mugshot where so many of us can never imagine ourselves in that situation to a human experience that we have all felt in one way or another. You know, throughout time and millennia, you know, staring over a fire, cooking, waiting for your roast rabbit to be done.
Your actual dinosaur, depending on which version of natural history you follow.
Yeah, waiting for my stegosaurus to be died to finish roasting.
Shout out to our Christian fundamentalist readers. Or what is it, New Earthers? New
Flat Earthers.
The Land of the Losters.
Ooh, free band name, New Flat Earthers.
Shout out to Disney's dinosaurs.
Yes.
But do you think if that show was made mostly before the internet or before it was like commonplace?
Yeah,
if dinosaurs were made today, how do you think they, or even the Flintstones, would have approached the internet?
I guess I don't know how they would have approached it, but I do know it would have been called woke nonsense and banned from Florida.
Because there are dinosaurs in it?
Well, one, because the dinosaurs...
And no people at the same time?
And two, because it had a lot of like anti-capitalist and like pro-climate messaging.
Oh, yeah. What's his name? Daddy Sinclair.
Yeah.
Worked at like some logging energy company. He worked at Dino Halliburton.
Right, yeah.
Because they were always at work pushing over trees with their bare hands.
Right.
And at the end, the climate apocalypse comes and it isn't him telling the baby that we did this is our fault, time to die.
Yeah, it's a real bummer of an ending for the show.
Yeah.
And now we're living it.
Now we're living it. So if you haven't finished it, but you remember the show fondly from your childhood, don't finish it. You'll see the finale in, I don't know how many years we have left here. What do the climate scientists say? Like,
oh, they're always changing. Usually it's actually just getting closer and closer.
It's forever almost too late.
Yeah.
Or forever is too late. It's 2 minutes to midnight.
Yes.
I digress. We were talking about dino nuggets and microwaves and Justin Timberlake not getting radiation from the microwave.
Yeah. So, it inspired some visual culture. Right when it comes out. Also, this one isn't visual, but it's just the Justin Timberlake, when can I drive again? Judge, it's gonna be May. You gotta say it like that.
When you capitalize May, yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And that one made me chuckle a little. In general, a lot of the efforts that I saw with the memes had sort of like the Kofifi sort of vibe to it, where it was like, none of this isn't actually that funny. There were a couple in there that were funny, but then it got overplayed really fast.
Isn't that just Twitter?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes Twitter can really keep a joke going for a while, but there have been, some notable times where it was like, guys, it's over. You all took a swing, you missed, move on. And I saw a lot of that with, I don't know, trolls references, and I don't know. They tried to make the thing he said to the arresting officer, like, he said, this is going to ruin the tour. And the officer was like, what? And he was like, the world tour. And they tried to make that happen as like a meme. And it just didn't, it all felt kind of flat to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, it's a mugshot, and there's a whole side to this that if you weren't a celebrity, this wouldn't be funny at all.
Well, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Because the reason we're talking about this at all is because it also inspired art. Capital A-R, not meme art, which is trashy, lowbrow art.
I can find multiple PhD, dissertation, master's theses that would heartily disagree with you.
Well, I think they're trashy academics.
We've been to conferences about memes being art, or at least asking the question.
We are published in books about memes being art.
Like we said, trashy academics.
Trashy academics. Yeah, I mean, it's okay to be a dirtbag academic.
Okay, quick, another digression. I had a thought the other day that, like, when I die, if for any reason I had some kind of, who knows?
Well, I don't know what scientists are going to do in the next few years.
There are people here who think that the people who will live forever are already born. It's not me. I'm drinking wine right now, and I haven't worked out in days, and I've been at a desk this is my 11th hour today. Anyway.
I lost my Blood Boy subscription. I had to cancel it because I was spending rocket money. Said I was spending way too much on subscriptions.
Downgrade to the starter tier.
Just one infusion a year.
Anyway, the thought I had was that when I die, if for some reason I had enough notoriety to get an obituary written about me.
People just like write obituaries for everyone, right?
Do you write them for yourself, or does someone write it for you?
No, like somebody writes you an obituary.
Who's going to write my obituary?
Probably me.
Wait.
And
what if you weren't here?
Then it would probably be like another close person you left behind.
I thought there was someone who worked at every newspaper who wrote all the obituaries.
No, that's
they got to choose who was important.
No, I mean, that's the New York. Like the New York Times will publish the important people and stuff,
but local papers too.
Yeah, that's everyone.
All right. Well, I'm a fucking idiot because my whole life I've thought that there's someone who worked at the obituary desk of every. I've worked at small papers, and I have probably made this up and like retconned it into my own employment history. But I swear there was someone who was working the obituary desk at the small papers I worked at after college.
Well, yeah, like somebody works there, but like if you pay for it, the obituary goes in most.
Are they a writer?
No, like okay. I mean, yeah, because the family usually writes it. And then
what's the person who works the obituary desk doing?
Well, they're charging you 6 cents per word, adjusted for inflation.
But you're writing the words. Oh, charging to print them.
Yeah, they're charging you to print them.
I went to journalism school, folks.
and then, they gotta like make sure that it's laid out good.
Well, this kills my joke because the words I thought that could apply to me. Like, oh, I could be remembered as a failed academic because I was at like conferences and publishing for like 2 years and then said, I'm out. I want to actually go slave away for our capitalist industry.
Isn't that just being a successful academic if you think about
get out.
it? Like if you kind of adjust your mindset a little.
Bottom line is, please don't describe me if I pass away before you as a failed academic.
Well, I guess I wasn't planning on it.
Thanks.
All right.
What should I not describe you as, Chris?
I think my main thing is like, if I die in like a really dumb way, I don't want to be used as an example.
Wait. So you think that I would, because you're assuming that I would write this for you, which we'll talk about that later.
Sure.
But learn from her mistakes, kids.
Yeah.
That would be the headline.
Yeah. And like, don't go on like speaking tours to middle schools about like, oh, she had so much ahead of her and then she died being stupid.
What if that's how I really feel, except for the stupid part?
Oh, just find a new thing.
So you're okay if you die in a stupid way with not getting your message out there and perhaps abetting the deaths of other people who might die in the same stupid way that could have been avoided if I had just gone on a speaking tour to say, my wife died like an idiot.
I don't know. I think that's your burden to bear.
Maybe you'll be dead.
You're
You won't
gonna
care.
be the live one.
I might feel bad
I'm
doing
gonna be
that.
the dumb dead person.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about how Justin Timberlake's mugshot inspired art.
He doesn't have an obituary. What were we talking? Oh, yeah, right.
Remember.
He's
Okay. You had an entire crisis about your academic career being a failure. It's somewhere in there.
I'm just going to write my own obituary before I
Okay,
die.
yeah. Honestly, that's a nice thing to do for your families, to just write your own, because then they don't have to write it. You know, have it ready to go. Have a couple dollars in an envelope so you can send it to the newspaper.
It'll be a post-it note that says, not a failed academic.
Yeah, there you go.
So what art came out of Justin Timberlake's, the DWI, DUI? What do they call it these days?
They call it, well, it looks like New York, or at least like this county in New York. I don't know how their legal system is structured. Calls it a DWI. So driving while intoxicated.
Again, I'm stupid. Driving under the influence. Driving with influence. Driving with alcohol makes more sense.
Driving without...
Driving while idiot. Okay.
Driving while idiot. That's what I'm going to die from, and you're not allowed to go.
That's my speaking
tour.
Mothers against driving while idiot.
She died doing what she loved, driving while being an idiot.
You can't die before me because I'm going to lose my shit delivering your eulogy, laughing about driving while idiot. And I won't be able to say that in front of your mom.
Just have her listen to this episode first to contextualize it.
I'll play it.
Remember to tell her that like fine art is all about context.
I'm going to play it over the loudspeakers in whatever funeral hall it is.
There we go.
Yeah.
I want to be cremated.
Well, you can still be cremated in a funeral hall.
I don't want to go to a funeral hall.
All right. I'll play it on our Bluetooth speaker that I'm going to bring to wherever you want me to spread your ashes.
All right.
Followed by a lecture about fine art is all about context.
There you go.
Then we'll get to remembering Chris.
Yeah, you can lecture people after I die. It just can't be about dying while idiot.
Okay, make me a list of what I can lecture people about after you die.
I'll do that. 1 is context and art. 2 is how new apartment buildings don't actually increase rent. 3 is that parking shouldn't be free.
I'm going to need some notes on this.
Yeah, I'll leave you a PowerPoint. I'll leave you 3 PowerPoints in a folder.
Following the deceased wishes.
Yeah. A dead man switch where it starts in presenter mode as soon as I die.
I can't get this off the screen.
The world has to know.
Hold on, I'm thinking about all the applications for a PowerPoint dead man switch. There are no other ones.
There are no others. All right. So this story caught my eye.
Do you think Al Gore had a dead man switch when he was doing the Inconvenient Truth lectures?
He thought that like somebody was going to assassinate him.
Yeah.
So he was like, the world needs to know. If I die, this is going live.
The LA Convention
this is
Center,
getting shared
every
to
screen,
all.
every screen will be locked on the lecture if he dies.
Imagine if you screwed up the like Microsoft like sharing settings though, which like always happens. You're like, oh shit.
Oh, shit.
It was only available to my organization.
Grant me permission.
My organization is just me and my intern. So this story caught my eye because the headlines were like, Justin Timberlake's mugshot is now a viral piece of art. So the piece is called Tuesday Night Out, featuring Justin Timberlake by Robert M. Lohman. Simon, want to describe what you're seeing here?
It is exactly the same photo as the mugshot. It has that Photoshop posterize effect to make it look like it's on a poster. It's got kind of that Warhol pop art solid green background or pink background, then a different color for Justin. And that's really all there is to it, man. Yeah,
it's kind of like a pop art thing available in 3 colorways. They were selling for $520 a pop at the Romani Cremorris Gallery in Sag Harbor, which again, same town where Timberlake was arrested. So the gallery statement is,
when I first saw this image of Timberlake, I said, this is iconic. I felt a calling to develop it. Andy Warhol's genius was in knowing which images would capture and evoke a moment in time, and Justin's mugshot seemed to me to do exactly that. I thought it was deserving of the Warhol treatment, and I believe Andy would approve. As the idea for the project grew, I reached out to my longtime friend, photographer Mary Godfrey. Mary is a talented photographer based in Southampton Village with a great shop and studio. She's been helping me with my photography work and design projects for more than 20 years now. Mary's an excellent technician with a much sharper eye for detail than mine, so it felt right to ask her to help develop this project with me, and thank God she said yes. We did a lot of test prints with many adjustments before making a foolproof set of the 4 colorways and taking them up to the Cremorris Gallery in Sag Harbor. Romani and Brandon said they wanted to handle them, but asked that we just leave 2 colorways, as they didn't want people confused by too many options.
I hate when I have too many choices. Like, no joke. Why are there 20 toothpastes?
I agree, but also why is this in the gallery statement? Anyway.
This is really, really taking us on a journey.
Yeah.
I was driving home when Romani called to say one had already sold. Now we're working hard to fill orders as they come in.
Do you think it was Romani's mom?
Yes.
Roman is probably more successful as an artist than we are as podcasters.
Well, a gallerist, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Romani, sorry.
Romani is the gallery.
The artist is...
The artist is,
Low.
Robert M. Lohman.
All of that background came together in this project with Mary. People have had a lot of varied reactions to it so far. There's a long history of using mugshots in creative ways to comment on culture and politics. Right from the start, this one just seems to have local appeal.
A little exclamation point there at the end.
What's the comment?
What's the comment? Yeah, that's my big question. What is the comment?
Celebrity mugshot, LOL.
Yeah. You know, if you kind of look around at the Romani Gallery online and stuff, it's clear what kind of place this is.
Yeah, I found a little write-up about it from Dan's Papers, which I had assumed was a blog of some guy named Dan. It's not. This is from 2014.
Hamptons Events and News.
Dan's Papers is actually a whole multi-local publication, self-described iconic mainstay of Long Island's East End for over 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a little write-up that was about how much fun this essentially gift shop was, right?
Okay.
And like, I'm not here. I don't think we're here to tell you what's an art gallery and what's a gift shop, but you know, there's a white box art gallery and then there's a gift shop in the Hamptons, and gallery can apply to both of those.
And there are the kind of galleries that cater to vacationers and tourists, and there are other kinds of galleries. And that doesn't bother me. I think what really bothered me about this story, and when I dove into it, was one, it was kind of everywhere for a day. Like not even a day, you know.
Slow news day.
Yeah, it was a slow, like, I don't think Trump had gotten shot yet. And it was like, you know, a good 10 hours where this was, I saw this pop up more than once. And there were a lot of stories about it. Like page 6 gossip rag. People I think more bigger news agencies. It was just all over the little like tabloidy, newsy things. Justin Timberlake's mugshot becomes a viral piece of art. And the way that all of those news or organizations and websites and stuff just kind of reposted what was clearly the gallery's press release kind of uncritically, which is their job as like Page Six's want to do. It's one thing, I think, for a little local gallery gift shop to like seize a viral moment and try and make a buck off of it, and then says something a little bit more about culture when it becomes more of a larger news story and like somehow tries to drag the art world in with it.
I mean, the BBC covered this.
Yeah, I couldn't remember exactly. I was like, I think the BBC covered this, but I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to misspeak. But yeah, I think I saw it in.
They at least covered his arraignment and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they covered the actual art thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
ArtNet did, which
yes, I saw ArtNet, and that's the one that really made me mad. Was the ArtNet
does
one?
ArtNet normally deign to cover gift shop galleries?
That's what I thought, and I felt like they were in it for like the virality and the clicks and stuff, and that's when it started to bother me because it was like, look, I don't know why this is a bigger thing. You know, I think
right.
I've seen other, the memes, the blah, blah, blah. I think I saw t-shirts being sold with it on it.
If you look at Etsy, there is a ton of stuff that is really just like the one in question from the various gallery press release stories.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite one is a candle with a picture and the text, "Smells like a one martini kind of night," referencing how Timberlake told the police allegedly that he had one martini and then followed his friends home.
Yeah, untitled podcast with art tip. Justin Timberlake's idiot move there was talking to the police. Never talk to the police. Don't tell them anything if you get pulled over. You shouldn't have talked to them. Just don't talk to the police. Because admitting that he had one martini, not a good idea. Just don't do it, Justin.
Also, don't
hire me as your lawyer.
Operate a motor vehicle, like in general, if you've been drinking, but also don't talk to the police. Both things can be good ideas.
If you don't do number one, definitely don't do number two. But also, if you do number one, I got that reversoed. If you do number one, don't do number
Don't do number two in any situation is what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I think I saw something about the bartender later telling Page Six or something like, "Oh yeah, I served Justin Timberlake that one martini." I was like, "Don't tell people that. People have been sued for over serving."
Wait, you said you served him that one martini?
Yeah,
that was the martini that did it.
That was the
martini. He came in here plastered and I gave him the one martini.
Get sued by Justin Timberlake now for over serving him. I swear to God. I think even people have been criminally found or like criminally arraigned, or I'm not sure if liable, but at least arraigned for over serving.
Probably did a careful calculation of the clout he would win for having served Justin Timberlake his one arrest margarita versus whatever criminal prosecution he opened himself up to.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he did that calculation real fast.
Everyone operating in today's rapid pace attention economy does those kinds of calculations on the fly.
Our brains have actually evolved to do those kinds of clout versus time over consequences. I think is the formula. And the human brain is amazing at figuring it out.
I'm going to start trying to do that one now, and I'm probably going to always err on the side of clout.
Yeah. I mean, you have so many chances in life to stay safe.
I'm going to divide by clout, and the answer is always going to be one.
Right now, you only ever have so many chances to get clout. So, but yeah, like Saatchi Art and Fine Art America are full of digital prints of mugshots of celebrities like Nick Nolte, Elvis Presley, Jimi Hendrix, Mick Jagger. And those can go for like over $1,000 sometimes, depending on like the quality of the print and stuff. I guess it makes me wonder, what's the difference between like Jane Fonda's mugshot being sold on one of these sites versus somebody like Timberlake in this situation? is it still gross to sell them for different reasons?
Who gets the money for them? Who should get the money for them?
Yeah, I have a lot of questions because, it's like, well, Jane Fonda, cool, bad bitch, stuff like that. And, her mugshot can be seen as this very empowering statement because she has been arrested for a lot of reasons over the years. And
she's got priors.
Yeah, she's got priors. But yeah, is that really other people's image to sell? It feels pretty gross to take the image of her that was taken because she was protesting the Vietnam War and then sell it for profit on a site like Saatchi Art.
And I feel like this is what you're getting at with all this, but how is that different from these mugshot websites where you search for yourself after you've been arrested and you see your mugshots up there and you don't want it up there and there's a button that says, how do I remove this? And then it's like, pay us $800 and you do, and then there's no guarantee of anything.
Right. There's still no guarantee they will actually take it down.
Yeah. So fame seems to be the delimiter here, and what defines that even?
Right. Especially now that there is a increasingly fine line between private individuals and famous people. I think it's easy to say Justin Timberlake is a celebrity. Obviously, he became a celebrity prior to influencer culture, but now with influencers, there are so many more famous people, and there are a lot more famous people who don't have the resources that used to be provided, like managers and PR people and stuff like that. These are people who have to navigate the throes of fame and all the crap that comes along with it all on their own.
Having a lawyer.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Beyond whatever PD they were assigned when they were arrested.
Yeah, yeah. And so what is to say that somebody who gets arrested who has maybe I've never heard of, but they have 1 million Instagram followers, is that a celebrity? Is that worth,
who gets to decide?
Oh,
do they get to decide what's art?
Tale as old as time.
I'm gonna start asking people with over 10,000 Instagram followers, what's art?
What is art and who gets to decide? And that's what we're going to get to the bottom of on this episode. Buckle up.
Well, that's all you need to get an MFA.
To finally be able to answer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What is art? Who gets to decide?
I mean, ask the question. That's really the upshot of getting an MFA.
That's like all the thesis.
Yeah. Who gets to decide what's art?
Yeah. You just type it and then you're done.
Yeah. You just show your Google search history.
Yeah. I looked into it. We still don't know.
Anyway, we were talking about, there are plenty of other bits of merch. Everyone jumped on this picture. Here's the thing. The art image by Lohman, it's divided into 4 colors, really just a background, the skin tone, and then the detail, right?
Yeah, they look like 4-color print.
Yeah, you lose any face detail. It no longer looks like a mugshot.
It really doesn't.
It just looks like a
It looks like bad fan art. It looks like somebody made fan art. And they're just like, all right, this is it.
Like the kind where if someone gave that to JT to sign after a show, he'd be like, oh, man. Oh, that's what you think of me?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the kind of thing that a niece would show you and be like, look, I'm doing art. And you'd be like, this is so good. I hope one day you have a really tough life drawing teacher who tells you how it really is.
It's going up on the fridge as a reminder for you to aspire to more.
Yeah. Okay, one thing about these images that I want to talk about is if you look closely at the ones where the skin is pink, why does it look like that?
Where he's 2 colors of pink?
Yeah.
Where like the face is red? I would guess they're trying to make him look more driving while idiot.
Well, the green and the blue skin tones don't have that. And the longer I look at the pink ones, the more penisy it looks.
First of all, I want to thank you for falling on your sword to be the one to bring penises into this episode because I had nothing for this for once.
I don't know. I didn't see it at first, but then I spent a while looking at them and I was like, oh gosh, for some reason the 2 pink tones in this one really add to the penisy vibe to me.
Thinking more like old-timey cartoons of drunks where their nose is all red and shiny, but his whole face is red and shiny.
I also just feel like...
Wait, is that all you had on penises?
Oh yeah, that was
Okay,
kind of
yeah, okay,
I don't
great,
really
yeah.
have to dwell on that
No, we
long. I
shouldn't.
just kind of thought that.
Okay.
I mean, I can spend all night on it. No, I can't. I actually really don't have that much material on it. I just that was
No one's going to touch that,
a
huh?
quick little note. I jotted down. I was just like, looks kind of penisy.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And so another thing that just really bugs me is they reference Warhol in the gallery statement, and it is such a cheap imitation. There's nothing. It's 4 colors. Even Warhol's images that look like they're 3 colors have so many more colors in them than that. The way that these are so flat, they lack any depth. They lack any soul, honestly.
I don't know anything about this artist. I don't know anything about their friend, Mary Godfrey. I am very much in favor of crediting everyone who helped you in your work. I don't see how this didn't just take all of 3 minutes in Photoshop.
I hate to be the my kid could do that kind of person. But yeah, I 100% am just like, yeah, I know exactly the process I would take to make this. Exactly. I could probably do it in a moment.
In our upcoming episode about the Passepartout video game, I hope that you will try to make Justin Timberlake's mugshot and see what the video game art critics say about it.
Okay.
Maybe I'll take that on.
It's probably going to be, yeah, I mean, I already played through number 1, so I think maybe you should try it.
All right.
So I think like with the crediting thing, I think it's funny that the artist heavily credits this photographer friend for her contributions in that gallery statement, but ultimately it's really only his name and bio on it. It's a really weird way to present this work. But I'm also not arguing that anyone should actually want to have their name on this. I need to make that clear.
I mean, I see here that you've looked up some stuff from Robert Lohman. I mean, I don't want to talk shit on this. It's someone who does not unappealing skyscapes that would sell in a gift gallery.
Yeah. I mean, they are inoffensive and they look probably well done. Hard to tell from like the thumbnail size, and looks like he's got a good handle on texture and unity, color theory.
It's all to say that the Tuesday Night Out Timberlake mugshot piece is a bit of an outlier stylistically.
It is a huge outlier stylistically, and it makes me feel really icky about. I feel so much secondhand embarrassment for everybody involved in this.
How much were these selling for?
$520 a piece for what I guess I don't have the dimensions here. They look like they're maybe 8x10, but I'm not
I think
sure.
we should use the Reddit measure of how many hours did they put into this.
I hope they didn't put more than 30 minutes into it.
Well, they're getting paid in clout either way.
Yeah. Also, I just love the People magazine had this quote from a gallery employee that told Page 6.
Timberlake's mugshot is our most contemporary piece. It's au courant.
What does au courant mean?
I think it's current. It's like French for it. It's super
like French.
current. It's like French or something.
It means aware of what's going on, well
yes.
informed.
It's in the zeitgeist.
They were au courant up with the literary scene.
And,
Fashionable, light, low-fat au courant recipes.
And I think, so I feel like I've ranted about this small gallery enough.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel bad that me as a nobody is talking shit on the internet about them.
Nobody.
Yeah.
And no, we're still
Hey,
punching.
they're in the Hamptons. That can't be easy.
They're still punching up. We're still punching up.
Going back to the statement from the gallery where they said, it's got a lot of local flavor. That what they said?
Yeah.
Yeah, local flavor. What is the local flavor or local culture of the Hamptons? Like, there are full-time residents, and then there are the Timberlakes and other rich people, and they all get served one margarita.
Martini.
No, margarita.
It was a martini.
Oh, a Mexican martini. Wait, the other way around.
You think a margarita is a Mexican martini?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sure.
Anyway.
Good luck holding down a job with that rattling around in your brain.
Or go to a bar and order a Mexican martini. I'm sure it exists, like mezcal or some shit.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be kind of good. what I want to talk about and why this bothered me, and I want to explain why I don't like mugshots. A brief history.
Okay.
Mugshots are practically as old as photography itself. Like, as soon as we had cameras, police were like, I am going to take pictures of criminals. They just couldn't help themselves.
They're like, stop thief and hold that pose for like, I don't know, 3 minutes. How long did it take?
Yeah. Like, we're going to be here for a while. We have nothing better to do. We aren't going to wave at ships until Friday.
Wait, were there criminal daguerreotypes?
Yeah. What?
They'd like sit there for like an old-timey camera?
I mean, the early ones, yeah, you would have to sit there a while. The first mugshots were taken in, I think, 1840 something in Belgium. And then after that, they kind of started getting in vogue and really took off in the United States, in New York City, where they would have these rogue galleries where police would put up all these mugshots in like the 1900s, and people from off the street could just come in and browse through the mugshots.
Oh, you mean like a gallery of rogues?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Not
yeah.
like a unlicensed gallery.
No, yeah. It was a thing to do, to put on your finery and go look at all the rogues in the rogue gallery.
So in that way, those gas stations that sell Busted magazine with all the mugshots, those are really
Tale
the rogue
as
galleries.
old as time. Exactly.
Put on your Sunday best.
Yep.
Go on down to the AM/PM.
Put on my best cozies, my nicest sweatpants,
Whatever I've been wearing for the past 3 days on this cross-country road trip.
and hit up that 7-Eleven, grab me a Busted. So, yeah, I mean, you want to explain what Busted is for like people who might not know?
I haven't looked up exactly how you define it, but I just have a lot of memories from growing up in the 90s and the 2000s of going into gas stations and convenience stores, and there's a magazine that was either free or $1 that was just really unfortunate booking photos of people who it's a little magazine for people to gawk at unfortunate poor people who got arrested.
Right. And the purpose of these things are also to extort people for money.
Right.
Because they existed in print in the 90s, but now they exist online as mugshot booking websites. And they're designed to make people who have been arrested and don't want their mugshot on the internet and things like that have to pay hundreds of dollars to have them taken down.
And it's important to just make the distinction that they've been arrested, but not necessarily convicted of anything.
No, this is, and in the case of Justin Timberlake here, he has been arrested. He has not been convicted of drunk driving. And yet now this mugshot exists of him in, you know, what people would consider a criminal form.
Yeah. Justin Timberlake or anyone else who has one of these photos is forever on the internet in criminal form.
Yes.
Talk a bit more about the extortion part of that and how that works.
Yeah. So there has been a big movement to get these kinds of websites taken down that has been successful in a lot of states, but they are still legal in many states. And so a lot of these websites take their images directly from police departments that release mugshots as a regular habit. For whatever reason in America, this is actually unusual that police departments just release people's booking photos. Increasingly, especially with like some criminal justice reforms that have been taking place, you have more and more police departments who aren't doing that as standard practice anymore, and they're only releasing them if they're of note for like
if there's a legitimate public interest in the photo being released versus just by default, everyone gets them because they're public property.
Exactly. So in some cases, you know, you can argue that there is legitimate public interest in like Donald Trump's mugshot being released. People argue that because the notoriety and the general interest. I don't necessarily argue that, but people do argue
well,
that.
It's so you can see from a scientific point of view what his ear used to look like.
Yes. And also, so you can make skull measurements, which we'll get into. Everybody get your calipers out. It's eugenics.
You still have those?
No. No, I gave them to Goodwill.
I'd like being at the Salvation Army. It's like, That's not a compass. Those are calipers.
Might as well give him a shot. Take him for a spin. So speaking of eugenics, I want to talk about Sir Francis Galton, who was a criminologist and pioneer in fingerprinting technology, pioneer of eugenics, and coined the term nature versus nurture. And one of his little hobbies was using mugshots to create composite photos to study the identity and facial features that might indicate criminal tendencies.
Let me guess what some of those features were.
Yeah. Wanna give one or two a shot?
What year was this?
It was like 1800s.
Like Irish,
Yeah.
Italian,
Uh-huh.
anything not, what is he, British? American?
Yeah.
Yeah, anything not him.
Yeah. So he's doing that. A little later, this actual, I think Italian guy named Cesare Lombroso, who's a 19th century criminologist who is also going to study mugshots. And he theorized that criminality was inherited and could be ID'd through sugarloaf-shaped skulls, pointy heads, heavy jaws, receding brows, and scanty beards.
Okay. What's a sugarloaf?
Yeah, sugarloaf. I don't know. I meant, is it kind of square with a little indent in the top?
Like a skiing slope somewhere in the eastern U.S.?
Yeah, or like a horse's name. I don't know.
Horse-shaped skulls indicate criminality.
Yeah. Pointy heads. So that means were the Coneheads criminals? I never saw that movie.
Yeah, I think that's what it's about.
Heavy jaws.
They wouldn't fit in like the mugshot frame though.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah. So how would he know?
I never saw Coneheads either.
Oh, maybe a sugarloaf skull is when the pointy head gets cut off, so then it just looks kind of square.
You don't fit in the frame of this camera, you're probably a criminal.
Yeah. Yeah. So heavy jaws. I don't know what that means. And what does that mean?
I don't know what Cesare Lombroso looks like, but I'd like to imagine that he has some much hotter, stronger, bigger, older brother, and he's just describing that person, or like some suitor of a woman that he fancies.
Yeah.
Like, yes, this beautiful, heavy set, square jaw.
He's like making like academic papers that are just describing like his nemesis. He's like, and this dude,
renowned 19th century hater Cesare Lombroso.
He's just subtweeting him. So, scanty brows, receding beards.
Receding beards.
heavy skulls.
Yeah, he's got a receding hairline.
Brows.
No, not that one.
Actually, if you just kind of rearrange a lot of these into different words, they all are like pointy brows and pointy beards really do indicate criminality as well, according to Disney movies.
Yeah, it's a real Mad Libs of nonsense racial theory.
Receding skulls, I'm going to say, arrest them.
The mushy headed.
Yeah. I do like the inclusion of scanty beards, though. Oh, there's so many people in
Probably
trouble.
the one thing he had going for him. He had a really full beard.
Yeah. And you would notice, though, that JT's beard is looking a little scanty in his mugshot.
Looking a little scanty.
A little scanty. So, maybe they were right to arrest him and post his photo out in public. Maybe. So mugshots have a real strong connection in their history to eugenics, and keeping all that in mind about like kind of how mugshots developed and became this sort of mainstay of American journalism and things like that, I want to turn to Andy Warhol again. As you'll recall, in the gallery statement, in the opening sentence, the artist Lohman says,
Andy Warhol's genius was in knowing which images would capture and evoke a moment in time. And Justin's mugshot seemed to me to do exactly that. I thought it was deserving of the Warhol treatment, and I believe Andy would approve.
So let's talk about that a little more. Let's unpack that.
Andy's stamp of approval.
One, get Andy's name out of your fucking mouth. Just kidding. I don't know him. So Andy Warhol, back in the 1960s, did a project called the 13 Most Wanted. And this was a project for the New York Pavilion at the 1964 World's Fair. And he was just commissioned to create something to do with New York. That's it. So he created giant screen prints of images from a booklet that was published by the New York Police Department of wanted criminals.
Was it called Busted?
Yeah, it was the original issue of Busted. Yeah. So Warhol creates these gigantic screen prints on the side of a building, and then they were painted over 2 days after installation. Exact reason unknown, but many of the men depicted were of Italian descent, and the New York governor may be afraid of losing the Italian vote is one theory.
What would Cesare Lombroso have said about that?
He would have said, those men have pointy brows. You must arrest them.
Those men look just like my hotter brother.
Yeah. Each and every one of them.
They look just like my love's husband.
Therefore, they deserve to be up there. There was also maybe concern about possible legal liability since at least one of the men included had been pardoned. So again, that question of we're putting out mugshots of people who may be innocent.
Yeah, New York's doing way better with this than most states are today with mugshot websites.
Yeah, I know. And then after that, Warhol actually suggested that instead they replace the mural with 25 portraits of Robert Moses, who
noted criminal
and one of my noted least favorite guys. That's going in my PowerPoint.
What were his facial features?
Probably all the bad ones.
Yeah, all the bad ones.
And I do not like him, and that will be my fourth PowerPoint of why Robert Moses sucks. When I die.
Strap in, bereaved. It's going to be a long night.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that also, we don't really know why it was painted over, but, I also think that people were like, wait, I don't. It's like if you did a installation for New York and just made it all trash and rats. And we're like, here, it's New York. And
that's been done, right?
I'm sure, yeah.
I mean, Pizza Rat.
It's not like they don't just live amongst their own garbage in that city.
Yeah, every day you walk down the street and there's all these beautiful interactive installations that is just trash.
Other people's garbage.
Well, soon it's going to be gone.
Yeah, so maybe have to
Eric
take
Adams
a final
invented
trip
his first
there
trash can.
to experience the immersive New York trash exhibition. The longest running exhibition in New York City history.
I love the Eric Adams performance piece where he drops a trash bag in a trash can like it's something he just figured out.
To the New York
Jay-Z,
State of
Alicia Keys
Mind,
song.
Playing in the background. So good.
You guys, look what I found.
Oh my God. Yeah. You can't tell me that he doesn't know exactly what he's doing. But really, I mean, can we just pause for a second about how New York just figured out they can put trash in trash cans?
No, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. So circling back to Andy Warhol.
All right, Andy.
I feel like Lohman is trying to reference Andy Warhol's screen prints of Marilyn and stuff with the work, but actually it has most in common with this piece, which was taken down. And I feel like that should be the message here.
Okay, what's happening here is exactly what I'm afraid of with ever talking about art in public. And it's exactly what happened when we published our first episode and my parents listened to it, where I got all these texts with corrections on art history, which for our listeners, nothing was wrong with it. But text from my dad saying, Micah is actually a prophet. Here's a picture of him. My mom saying,
actually, instead of what, a little boy's
3-year-old?
name?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's both. It's both.
But what this artist is doing is the thing that I think was made most afraid of because I went to art school, etc., of saying something and being told, yeah, no, you did the wrong research. That's not why this matters. Which happened to me during my pre-thesis defense. So
yeah,
maybe that's founded. But yeah, it's good to know that other people make those mistakes.
Yeah. And I feel like, again, I wouldn't be so hard on it if there hadn't been this big push to mainstream itself.
And it was kind of pushing itself to mainstream itself. Yeah.
To profit off of this person's image. And I just feel like, especially after discussing the issues with the mugshot industry and how I frankly just think mugshots are plain gross, that It's gross. And that's why I am kind of hard on it, even though I feel kind of weird about it. And yeah, again, I think, yeah, you did the wrong research. Your references are incredibly shallow if all you're doing is making a bad knockoff of a Warhol Marilyn Monroe, you know? I think the hackiness of all of that just kind of reminds me of, this isn't a direct relation, but like the Richard Prince stuff. Are you familiar with him?
Not really, no.
He created these portraits, which were just printed screen grabs of Instagram posts of various influencers and celebrities that he blew up and then sold at the Gagosian Gallery in New York in 2014 for $100K each. He got sued by a whole lot of people. It caused a whole lot of big fair use cases.
Is one of those paintings in this image you put in here like of a crown prince or something?
Yeah, I think there's a Saudi prince in there. There are a bunch of models. I know that one of the lawsuits came from the photographers who took the pictures of the models and stuff. But then I think a makeup artist also tried to sue him. I believe her case was thrown out because they said it wasn't the right venue. And I don't know if there was ever any other attempt to follow up on that. And then I think another model or something also sued him. So he got sued by a lot of people.
That must have been part of the point, right?
Well, I guess, but I mean, yeah, I think he calls himself like what does he call himself? Takey artist, a steely artist, an appropriation artist.
Appropriationist.
Yeah, he calls himself like an appropriation artist.
Okay.
Yeah, but it kind of feels like once you have $100,000 changing hands for one of your things, then it doesn't feel like it's appropriation in the like truest sense of the form.
Were there any fair use cases of note from that, or?
Oh, not really. I think one court actually wound up saying that the gallery wasn't liable, but I do think the artist has had to pay, or I'm sure like whatever LLC that he has or whatever.
So the takeaway here is if you're going to do appropriation art, that's going to invite a lot of legal trouble. Make sure you sell the pieces for, 6 figures minimum.
Well, I guess, but I mean, he was selling them for $100,000 each, but then he wound up having to pay 2 photographers $900,000 total. So like I think the judgment was $600,000.
And then how many did you sell?
What? I don't know. Maybe he sold like well then there's damages. He was awarded just
all right.
He was awarded the original amount and then probably additional damages and then $250K in legal fees.
This equation is getting way more complicated than our clout equation, so I'm going to stick with that one.
We always wind up doing too much math in our shows.
Surprise.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just kind of felt like, oh yeah, that feels a little similar, doesn't it?
In the hierarchy of whose feelings I care about, because that's definitely what we're discussing here, I think you're punching way up if you're putting the Saudi Crown Prince in this.
Yeah, that's kind of the most up you can punch.
Yeah, I mean, just keep punching up that way.
Yeah.
Don't get dismembered or anything, but punch all you want.
Yeah, be careful who you punch. Well, he stole the work of a lot of people in creating these.
Just like it was the margarita that did it, that was the portrait of the Crown Prince that did it.
Yeah, it was a martini. How many times do I have to tell you it was a martini?
I swear it's a margarita.
It's a martini. Oh my God, it's a martini.
Oh,
what?
Damn it. The candle says it smells like a one martini kind of night.
Yeah, it's a martini.
This whole time I thought it was a margarita, and it was so much more fun in my head of like,
he
had a margarita.
Way more fun.
He was probably at, is there what's it called? Parrotland? Buffett.
Parrotland?
Let's Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville.
Okay, but Parrotland, seriously, let's workshop this. Jimmy Buffett's estate, please call me. We need to make a theme park.
It's a theme park.
It'd be amazing. Be like a big daycare for adults who want to drink in pools. Is it just a regular pool? That's just a pool. We just invented the pool.
The pool? I've only been to 2 Margaritavilles. None of them have a pool. None of them has a pool.
Sadly true. Both are near water.
If there is a Margaritaville in the Hamptons, they're the one business I would respect getting on this train if it had been a margarita. So in my headcanon, it's a margarita that he had before he got arrested. And there's a Margaritaville in the Hamptons. And they have a pool. And they're serving Timberlake's last margarita.
Is there a Margaritaville in the Hamptons? Nope, there's just the Margarita Grill.
Why do people live there? Or visit there?
Wait, Margaritaville. Oh, yeah, no, Margarita Grill.
That seems, speaking of lawsuits.
I know, that feels like a trade dress violation.
You changed a couple letters.
Yeah, I know. Added a space.
Do they have grills at Margaritaville?
Grills?
Oh, yeah, you can get a cheeseburger in paradise.
Yeah, it's a grill.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Margaritaville Bar and Grill.
Island Grill.
Margarita Grill Bar and Ville.
That's what they should call it.
So we've talked about a lot of bad, hacky, exploitative mugshot / booking photo art. But there's some interesting art about this too. A lot of this actually is about how exploitative mugshots booking photos are. Warhol's 13 Most Wanted is actually an example of a piece that's making a comment on the exploitative history and use of booking photos.
It's also making a point about New York City and stuff. They said make work about New York, and said Andy Warhol said, "Oh, yes, I will."
Here's some of your best criminals.
Yeah, your finest criminals, sir.
Another artist, more contemporary, Paolo Cirio, an Italian artist, has done
Italian, huh?
Italian, yeah.
Sure he's not on the Most Wanted list?
Chris.
I didn't say it. Andy Warhol said it.
Chris just donated all of her calipers to Goodwill. We're trying to get out of her system.
Trying to get them back.
Those are my grandfather's calipers.
Shit, can't believe you gave those away.
I'll have to buy them back.
They mark shit up a lot lately, too. They're going to be like $45.
What's the return policy on these calipers?
For credit.
So Cirio's done a number of these data-driven, very working within the internet, part performance, part social practice pieces that are quite a bit around privacy and people's agency on the internet in a world where we are very clearly being surveilled by just about everything we do online. Like, how many times did you search the word calipers while working on this?
0.
0? All right, you already know everything about them.
Damn.
Cirio has a series of pieces around this. The first one I became familiar with is a project called Obscurity, which is from 2016, where he took the mugshots, or more kindly called booking photos, of over 15 million people off the internet. These are all people who are arrested around the US because, like you mentioned, in the US, they just put those photos out there regardless of conviction or anything. He took millions of these photos, blurred their pictures, shuffled a bunch of data, and then put it back out there as a way to create a lot of noise around the actual booking photos that they had no control over online that they were being extorted with.
So is the idea here that if you search for somebody's name, you could potentially also find this distorted booking photo that might crowd out the original booking photo?
I think that's the idea, at least in theory. I don't know if it went so far as to do that in practice.
Sure.
It gets quite complicated. I mean, we've thought about similar projects like that, about creating noise online. And there is a whole area of anti-surveillance art that is about making so much noise that the exploitative or damaging information online is just totally lost in a sea of other information.
Right. And those projects are made possible, like they can be possible at a specific point in time, but algorithms are optimized and change so much and things break. So, who's to say that maybe it once worked, but it no longer does? I do know that Google, due to activist pressure, did start deprioritizing mugshot booking photo sites in search engine optimization.
Well, one of those activists is the artist Paolo Cirio,
yes,
who did a series of projects, including Obscurity, that was called The Right to Remove. He's working in Europe, where honestly, this is a little more straightforward than the US, but any progress is good progress. But he has this whole campaign called The Right to Remove, which is the activist arm of his work that accompanies the creative projects that was very much about getting Google to, and other search companies, other internet companies, to give people some control over their own image online.
Yeah. Big fan of Paolo Cirio's personally. Just want to say, cool guy. Seems to makes good art.
Yeah, no, he is one of the artists that I like quite a bit.
Yeah.
And has also been very influential in my work and our work together too.
Yep. Definitely.
But this podcast is not to talk about our own art.
Never talk about my own art.
There were a few other projects that were tied to this theme and to his Right to Remove campaign. One was recently Criminal Data from 2022, which was more of a video essay that was the culmination of all these works around this topic, advocating for people's legal right to remove their personal info from search engines, promoting privacy online. He worked a lot with lawyers, academics, and legislators on this one. And the Whitney actually has exhibited this piece. But a little before that, one of my favorite pieces of his is the Project Capture, which takes that police camera that you talked about they've been using since the 19th century
Yeah.
to photograph criminals and turned it around, where he collected 1,000 public images of police in photos taken during protests in France. This was in 2020, 2021. And processed them with facial recognition software to identify each one of the police in these photos, usually riot cops, often committing some kind of act of violence against protesters. And did these shows where he put up these big prints of their enlarged, enhanced faces with identifying information about them. Guess who loved that piece?
The cops.
The cops and a lot of the public institutions in France, for example. The installation was supposed to open on October 15th, I think, of 2021 at Le Fresnoy, a public institution for contemporary art in north of France.
Look at you practicing how to pronounce things.
Thank you. It's probably wrong. French listeners, please correct me. I don't have to tell you to do that. You'll correct me anyway.
Even non-French listeners.
Yeah, my dad's going to correct me.
Yeah.
It was withdrawn from the gallery following pressure from France's Minister of the Interior. There's a tweet from the minister, and this is where I'm going to totally mess up this pronunciation, but Minister Gérald Demarnin. Yeah, let's just go straight
Yeah.
Midwest on this.
Yeah.
Gérald Demarnin called Cirio's work a, quote, unbearable pillorying of women and men who risked their lives to protect us, end quote, and demanded that the exhibition be, in his words, deprogrammed under the threat of legal action.
Oof.
Which, that project did exactly what it was supposed to do. I mean, I got to see Paolo Cirio speak in Berkeley some years ago, and a good half of his talk was showing news clips throughout the years of people, mispronouncing his name, saying Paolo Cirio, and talking about all the ruckus he had made outside of the art world.
I really love that he said, I am going to make an installation that are going to make fascists have to fascist. And then they did it.
Trick you into fascisting.
They just did it. They couldn't help themselves.
So, Chris, tell us about some other mugshot art that you're interested in.
Yeah, there is an artist named Jesse Krimes who created a bunch of interesting mugshot art while he was serving 5 years in prison for a nonviolent drug offense. And a most important question.
Yeah.
Is that his real last name?
I know it's with a K.
It is with a K.
At first I thought you were talking about the artist Grimes and misspelled it.
Nope.
It's Jesse Krimes.
Jesse Krimes. So he created the installation Purgatory while he was in solitary confinement by transferring newspaper mugshots and other images of people accused of crimes onto hundreds of wet bars of soap that he then would smuggle out of prison. He did other works while in prison that he would smuggle out in other ways to create this installation.
Do you know how you'd smuggle them out?
I don't know. I think he would put them in like playing card decks and stuff that he would pass to people. I think I saw images of that. I'm not sure how else it was done, but do you see that image that's right here? Can you describe what it looks like?
It is a grid of what I now know are bars of soap.
Little like white bars of soap.
Yeah, white bars of soap. I had initially thought these were like mahjong tiles or something. There's no scale, but they're bars of soap, and they have, well, like you said, they are newspaper image transfers. It looks like you probably press the newspaper to the soap and use something
like
to
water
or some solvent to dissolve the ink onto them. Kind of like the silly putty effect when you put on newsprint.
Yeah. So they're pretty light. But yeah, I mean, that's the nice thing about newsprint is it transfers really easily. And so the images on the soap are very light, but like you can clearly see that they are people. I can very clearly see that is Michael Jackson. And I don't know if there are probably some other familiar faces in here.
That one in the middle bottom, Dick Cheney?
I kind of think it.
I don't think he is a mugshot, but
No, they're not all mugshots. They're also just people accused of crimes. Some of these, the image transfer quality really starts to get creepy, though.
yeah.
There's that one on like the bottom right that looks like a very ghost. It looks like a demon.
Yeah, it's getting into like Slenderman creepypasta territory.
Yeah. Yeah, that thing's going to haunt me in my dreams.
Dick Cheney already haunts me in my dreams. We've really got Halliburton on the mind today.
Yeah. And, that makes sense.
You're out of the headlines, but still in our hearts.
Love you, Halliburton.
Missed opportunity for a collab between Hallmark and Halliburton.
Happy holidays.
No.
Halliburton and Hallmark. I was just going to say Krimes was actually awarded a Guggenheim grant, which is big deal. So good for him. Like,
seriously.
Whether or not that is your real name.
If that was his real name.
I mean, how do you not get arrested? I feel
Right.
like if you're born into that name, you're like, well, I'm going to jail.
We're really getting back to your 19th century friends nature versus nurture argument
Yeah.
here.
It was bound to happen.
Sir Francis Galton.
My buddy.
Do you have anything more on JT here? On mugshots?
Yeah, I don't think I do. I think I just want to say that I am not the biggest knower of celebrity culture, and I don't know that much about pop culture in spite of having a pop culture podcast. I don't actually pay a lot of attention to celebrities. I am not hyper concerned about Justin Timberlake. I know he did Britney wrong. I will say that. I know he did her wrong.
I mean, yeah, Brittany said so.
He
She had
did
her book.
dirty. Yeah.
And she was even nice to him about it.
Yeah.
I'm like you here. I don't really care so much. I read up a little bit on what's happened since I last caught up with Justin Timberlake when I was in college and Future Sex Love Sounds came out.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got some bangers. I don't think we can deny that.
Future Sex Love Sounds absolutely slaps.
Yeah. That's fine. Yeah. But my interest in this more comes from the angle of mugshots are gross and we need to stop looking at them as a culture because it is just icky.
Yeah, it's all kinds of nasty, like the bad kind of nasty.
Yeah. Not the good kind of nasty.
I mean, I don't think that Justin Timberlake really cares that much about any of that, as evidenced by his response. Well, no, it wasn't a response. The internet made this his response. But around the time that Britney's book came out, which also happened to be the 20th anniversary of the wardrobe malfunction with Janet Jackson.
He did her real dirty.
Yeah, he, during one of his shows, started a song by saying, "I'd like to apologize to absolutely fucking nobody." And the internet just said, he is talking about Britney. He is talking about Janet. He has no remorse. Fuck this guy.
Yeah, everybody really turned right then. Yeah.
He seems fine. His crowd loved him. His wife came out and sang happy
Isn't his
birthday.
wife
Beal?
Beal?
She's the
Beal.
Beal.
The Beal.
Is there only one Beal?
Wait, am I thinking? Oh, no, I'm thinking Ally McBeal.
No, Jessica
I
Biel.
got confused. I was like, Ally Beal? No, Jessica Biel. Yeah.
Yeah, Jessica Claire
Jessica
Timberlake,
Biel, yeah.
nay Jessica Biel.
Huh.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, like, I don't care. I mean,
we don't even know if that's what he was apologizing for.
I thought he
purely
didn't
conjecture.
apologize.
We don't even know if that's what he was not apologizing
Yeah,
for.
he
He was
did.
apologizing to nobody about not that.
Yeah. He's apologizing to nobody in front of everybody about nothing.
The lady doth protest not too much.
So yeah, I'm not a big fan. I barely know who this guy is at the end of the day, but my interest does lie in the mugshot of it all and why I think they're nasty, but also the art that has also been made that I think is actually good mugshot art.
I know what you're getting for the holidays.
My very own mugshot.
You're getting arrested.
I'm going to prison.
You're getting a eulogy in your obituary.
You're getting a PowerPoint.
You're getting a mug with...
No, don't want it.
Well, you didn't even hear whose mugshot it was
I know
yet.
whose mugshot.
Whose mugshot is it?
Is it Justin Timberlake?
I was going to say Dick Cheney, but we don't know if he
Oh.
even has one yet.
But AI can do anything.
Yeah, I can make it. All right.
Yeah. No, that's cool because that will go nicely with my bottle of champagne in the fridge with Dick Cheney's name on it.
And that's where, for legal reasons, we should end this.
Saying once he dies, that's going to pop.
Well, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, I think that this was nice. You got to hear some ranting and we got to punch in all different directions.
Punch in the general direction of a Saudi crown prince.
Yes.
Which is straight up.
Yeah. And we got to punch in the direction of the Hamptons, which is east.
Maybe one day we'll go there.
Probably not. And that'll do it for this episode.
Our music is by Layers and Layers. Check them out on Instagram. They've got an album coming out really soon called Mantles. Maybe it'll already be out by the time this releases. Time will tell.
And we have a Patreon at patreon.com/untitledartpod where you can support us and receive special perks, including show notes for all of our episodes, which contain links and a PDF version of the slides that include all the art we discuss in the episodes. And you can find us online at untitledpod.art. Bye.
Bye.